Good afternoon, guys. It's Working, bringing you a quick update on Bitcoin. Hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon. We're looking at Bitcoin to the US dollar 4-hour chart on Coinbase. And last time we spoke, guys, I told you Bitcoin was testing this resistance up here, 6360. I told you we needed to break above that decisively and start consolidating above that 6360 if this was going to continue. We saw price come up. We had this rejection here. I told you guys, for those of you that haven't been watching my videos, I just want to reiterate we are trading within this larger range, top of which is 6750. Really, actually, these wicks up here, which are about 68.10, somewhere thereabouts, but the real resistance is at 67.50, and the bottom of this range is at about 61.15. And again, the real bottom is at 6,040. This wick down here, but again, the real support sits at about 61.15 right in here. So this is really the range, guys. If we get a decisive break above 67.50, by decisive, we get a 4-hour candle that actually, let's make it a daily candle. Really, on this, this is such a tight range. A daily candle that opens and closes, and we get consolidation above 67.50, that'll be a decisive break. And the same is true on 61.15. We get a solid break below with consolidation below 61.15. That's going to be a solid break in my opinion. And those are the areas that need to break to establish that new trend. Until then, we are still trading within a range. And trading within this range, guys, means we're buying and selling at the bottom of the range and selling at the top of the range. So I told you guys last time, I bring all this up, guys, for those of you that haven't listened. I told you guys I entered into a small position down here when price came back down, wicked into it here, wicked into it here. And I told you I was holding on to that position. Typically, we were targeting 63.60. A very conservative target, guys, but this is what we were targeting. I told you, however, it was such a small position, I was going to hold on to it, but just in the interest of full transparency, price came up, tested this, came back down, came back up for the retest, got rejected a second time, came back down, and I went ahead and closed my position right here at about 63.40. I think I was at 63.39 is where I closed. So of course we're coming back down here. I wouldn't be surprised, guys, to see price come back down and test this area right here, this order block right in here. Of course, we had a very small test of it right here, came right back up. We had this almost doji candle right here, and of course this candle right here looks like, to me, we're not seeing that follow through. We're not seeing that strong bounce. Looks to me like we're going to come back down to test this zone at least one more time. Now I'm going to look to add to my position, possibly, or not add to my position. I'm going to look to add to take a very small position at the bottom of this range right here at about 6,300, somewhere thereabouts, guys. I'd be looking for a decent bounce right in there, guys. But again, I'm going to add a very small position, and this is not financial advice at all, guys. In fact, if you aren't comfortable day trading, I would just be out of this market until we have established a new trend. Now, if you're looking at adding to a long-term hold position, I've got my long-term hold portfolio that I'm not touching at all. Have not touched, will not touch, am not selling. But I've got the two portfolios. I've got my long-term hold, and then I've got my day trading and or swing trading portfolio. With that, I'm all in fiat right now, and I'm going to look to, actually I do have a couple small positions in other coins, but I'm mostly in fiat, all in fiat for Bitcoin, as far as in my day and swing trading portfolio. And I'll look to add add a small position right here at about 6,300, and I'm going to add to that position up to and including, in other words, as it falls, if price does fall, I'll add to that position all the way down here to about 62.55. I wouldn't be surprised to see price come back down, test this area as well. So I'm going to add a little bit here. I'll add a little more here. And I've told you guys in the past that this is where I'd be looking to buy below 62.35. I'd be very cautious if we do break 62.35 this time, guys. I think more than likely there's a very good possibility that we're going to, and by decisive, I mean a decisive break, not a wick, but if we get a decisive break below 62.35 with consolidation, I do think there's a good chance we're going to coming back down to 61.15 in my opinion. So I'd be hesitant into adding a position at this time below 62.35. I'm going to add a little bit here, a little bit here. Very tight stop loss, probably sitting at about 62.15, somewhere thereabouts. Actually, I'll probably put it just below this wick right here, which will be about 6,200, somewhere thereabouts, guys. This is where I'd be looking to add my stop loss for this very small position. And again, it will be a very, very small position, guys. So really just play money at this point until we do break this range and establish a new trend. If you're looking to add to your long-term hold portfolio, portfolio, sorry guys, try to say that 4 times real quickly. If you're looking to add to your long-term hold portfolio, though, guys, this isn't a bad time to dollar cost average in. If you're planning to hold for a year or longer, not a bad time at all. Even if price does come back down much lower, I would expect this time next year for price to be at all-time highs. So again, not going to make much of a difference. But if you're a swing and/or day trader, I'd be adding very small positions here and here. Again, not financial advice, but just very, very small positions, nothing big, nothing heavy at all. Again, just my advice. You guys do what you like, just telling you kind of what I'm doing. So this is the area I'm looking for a possible retest right here. Possibly if that breaks down, retest right here. Nice, decent bounce. We're still looking to break above 63.60, guys. That is still the area that we need to get above and consolidate above. If we can get above 63.60 with consolidation, I'm going to start to get a little more optimistic. And of course, if we can break above 65.40, 65.40 in my opinion would be, this is where I'm going to get very perked up. This is where I'm going to start thinking the bottom might be in. Anything above 65.40. Now, of course, it might be in now, but I'm going to start to get very optimistic and start to make some calls if we do get above 65.40 with consolidation, guys. I'm going to start to get extremely optimistic if that does happen. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. For those of you that have watched my prior videos, guys, I showed you that this is looking at log scale, and this is on the monthly chart. If you look at log scale on the monthly, we can see that this goes all the way back to the end of 2011. We can see that this trend line has been in place all this time and held very, very solidly. I am expecting this trend line to hold. If this does break, I'm going to have to recalculate this whole thing, and at that point, if we do break below this trend line, I think there's a very high probability that we're going to come down to much, much lower lows. That being said, I'm not expecting that to happen, at least by anything more than a wick. If we get a very small wick through it, there's no problem there. But if we get a strong, solid break below this trend line, guys, things could get ugly very quickly. That being said, I'm not expecting that to happen. I'm pointing this out because as we look in here, of course, we just started a new month, so a new candle. We can see that price is just coming up on this trend line here. So what I'm going to be looking at here, guys, if I would expect in November, we're either going to get a very strong bounce or a very strong breakdown. I would expect more than likely that we would get a decent bounce. Now, we could come down lower before we get that bounce. If we just end up moving sideways, of course, we're going to hit it sometime at the end of possibly at the end of the end of November, possibly the beginning of December as we start a new candle. It would be right here. That may start the bounce. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out, guys. But I'm pointing this out because I want to show you that even if this trend line does hold intact, we could come back down to these lower prices. So we could be looking at, if we were to break straight down as of right now, if this trend line does hold, we'd be bouncing somewhere around 58.75, somewhere in that area, guys, depending on the exchange that you're looking at. So, and again, this is on log scale, guys. So somewhere around 58.75, somewhere thereabouts, guys, if we were to just come straight down and hit that zone, that's where we'd be looking for a bounce. So we can see, if we look at this area, guys, we can see that this is a very strong supply zone, and this was set all the way back in November of 2017. We can see there's a very strong supply zone down here. How do we know that? Well, we can see obviously price came back down here, very strong wick right here, came back down, strong wick, wick. We've been wicking through it all the way through, guys, and really haven't been able to decisively break through this. Now, of course, we had a little more of a break here and here, but again, nothing strong, nothing solid. We still have a lot of room down here to test. Every time a support is tested, it does get weaker and weaker. That being said, we haven't had on the monthly, we haven't had the body of the candle really penetrate deeply into this support zone at all. So this still does tell me that this is still a strong support. If this does hold, guys, which I do expect it to, we may come back down and test this low, possibly 57.75, possibly wicking into that area, possibly even a little lower, possibly wicking into this area right down here, even 5600, somewhere thereabouts, guys. But I do expect this to hold. I do expect this support to hold. Doesn't mean we can't come much that price can't come lower, but it does mean, guys, that we might see a lower price, but I do expect this support to hold, and I would expect a bounce sometime in November, possibly early December, guys. That's where I'm going to be looking for a decent bounce. And that's why a lot of people are calling for a larger bounce, guys, here in the next month or so. And of course, as I've showed you guys, until you're blue in the face, you're probably sick of hearing it, but we continue to make a series of lower highs, higher lows, also suggesting a very, very decent bounce is to come. We come over here and we look at our moving averages and exponential moving averages. I've showed you guys this many times before, but also supporting that theory of a larger move to come is just looking at the Bollinger Bands here on the weekly. We can see the Bollinger Bands are getting squeezed tighter and tighter here at a very high degree. Again, also suggesting a major bounce to come. The 55, the 8, 55, and 21-day EMA all converging on each other here, guys. Again, also suggesting that larger move is to come. If we come over here and we zoom into the 4-hour chart, looking at the 4-hour chart, guys, we can see that price did break below this 21-day EMA, came back up for the retest, and it's finding resistance right now, right at that 21-day EMA. Obviously, if we can break above that 21-day EMA on the 4-hour chart, that's going to show the bulls do have some life. As of right now, the bears are kind of starting to gain momentum. We come over here and we look at the daily chart. We can see price did break above briefly this 8-day EMA, came back up, tested the 21-day EMA. I tell you guys all the time, 21-day EMA typically is a good area to look for a shift in momentum. In other words, if you're below the 21-day EMA and you do break above decisively, that's typically a good signal that the momentum is shifting in favor of the bulls. And of course, the opposite is true if you're above the 21-day EMA and you break below. That does show a momentum shift in favor of the bears. Right now, we did see, I told you in the last update, I wanted to see a break above the 21-day EMA. Price came up, broke above the 8-day, tested the 21, and we had a rejection, and price is now broken back down below the 8-day EMA, which is a bearish sign, guys. Doesn't mean that's going to continue that way. Just means right now things are looking a little bit more bearish, and I wouldn't be surprised to see price come back down and at least test those lower zones right into our order blocks that we were talking about earlier, right here. This is on the 4-hour. Right here, guys, this order block here and this order block here, where I'd be looking to add for a position. I'd be looking for a decent bounce in those areas. So that's what we're kind of keeping an eye on right now, guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it there. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please let me know in the comments section below. As always, would appreciate an upvote if you have enjoyed this content. Until next time, guys, please trade safe. Take care of yourselves. This is Working. Signing out.